negative thoughts out of my consciousness, the doubts that I was physically strong enough to finish. Instead, I focused on the pain and the cold. It was a never-ending mental battle not to lose my temper and curse the ice and the weather. On previous expeditions, as a member of a team, I had seen how tough, experienced men and women were mentally unravelled by sastrugi, striking the ice with their poles as they gave way to frustration. But when you are going solo, you can't afford the luxury of anger. I was being tested, I told myself. The Great White Queen was playing with me, seeing how far she could push me until I snapped. And when that happened, it would be the beginning of the end. Once there was the tiniest chink in my mental armour, I sensed I would unravel quickly. An hour in those conditions is enough to break the spirit of any sane person, let alone 3 days. Of all the physical challenges I've undertaken, including SAS selection, cutting a trail alone through a field of sastrugi in zero visibility on the way to the South Pole must count as one of the hardest. After 25 years in the SAS and having found myself in some tricky situations, I was confident I could manage my emotions better than some. I've always been able to think clearly, even when being shot at in the middle of a firefight, and I was able to bring that calmness with me to Antarctica. It was the one element of my character that I'd always believed would never fail. But on this journey, it was being tested like never before. My knees, hips, and ankles were bruised and raw, the sastrugi having tripped me more than 30 times that day. At one point, my polk slipped down a deep ridge and dragged me backwards, and for a split second, I feared I'd be pulled into a deep crevasse. About an hour later, I had a moment's loss of concentration. A slip. To be honest, I can't remember, but the consequences were almost catastrophic. I had just checked my compass, which hung from my chest on a hands-free plastic frame for the umpteenth time, corrected my bearing, took a deep breath, and pushed one ski forward when the ice beneath me disappeared. At the very moment I passed the point of no return, I knew I was in trouble. I had stepped into a void and fell off an 8-foot-high ice ridge. I face-planted into the granite-hard ice below with such force that the impact drove the air from my lungs. It was as if I'd been hit in the ribs by an uppercut from a heavyweight boxer. But worse was to come. My polk followed and came crashing down on the back of my legs, the sucker punch. The metallic taste of blood filled my mouth as the pain from the impact drilled up through my crumpled body. I assumed my legs were broken, and my mind went into overdrive as I mentally rattled off a survival checklist. I had to try and get to my satellite phone or emergency locator beacon before I passed out from the pain. But then rescue, I knew, would be delayed in a whiteout. And anyway, an aircraft couldn't land in the sastrugi field I was now in. So by the time any rescuers arrived, I would be dead, entombed in ice, another soul lost to the Antarctic. The pain of a fracture never arrived. My pride and chest were heavily bruised, nothing more. I took a few deep breaths and pushed the polk away from my legs. I had dodged a bullet again, just like I had on a few occasions in Iraq and Afghanistan. I was once again reminded of my mortality, but there was no time to dwell. I had to push on and walk the fine line between caution and risk. If I slowed down and waited for the whiteout to pass, I risked running out of food, but I was unlikely to walk away from another bad fall. I took a few minutes to catch my breath and get my bearings. Every bit of my body ached, and as I slowly moved forward again, I couldn't stop the doubts creeping in once more. How did I come to be here? How much more of this could I take? Chapter 1. Born in a Blizzard. Had we lived, I should have had a tale to tell of the hardihood